Sentinel Online. Now loading the Geekcast radio network of podcasts.
Here I come!
He's got the moves.
Are you some kind of idiot?
The look. The brains.
Oh, really, Ford? Really?
But to get his inheritance, he needs a diploma.
I can do this if I set my mind to it.
Class, say hello to Billy Madison.
Adam Sandler.
Now you're all in big, big trouble.
Billy Madison.
You want some more of that? I didn't think so!
Rated PG-13.
Hello and welcome to the 61st episode of the MWIRE Movie Week in Review. Today we will be starting the Sandler Spotlight Part 1. I am your host, TFG Mike, and as usual I'm joined by Steve Megatron. Hello, sir.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
A little tired.
Yeah, what's been going on with you?
Recording random stuff. Dog somehow injured herself, and not really much else.
Interesting. We actually... Oh, come on, iTunes. Give me a friggin' break. Sorry, folks. What I was going to say was we actually have a review on iTunes here, but I can't seem to get it pulled up. For some stupid reason. Pissing me off. Here we go. MWIRE. Sorry for the delay. But yes, we have our first review by Atomic_Dog04. It was left on August 23rd of this year. Great podcast. MWIRE is a great podcast examining movies from yesteryear and being totally honest with their thoughts and what they are reviewing. If only Roger, or if he means only if Siskel and Ebert were as funny as these guys, I would have watched that show and then listened to this podcast. I highly recommend this podcast. It's a must-have when you're on the road or avoiding drama at the workplace. Get it. So thank you very much, Atomic Dog. We appreciate the feedback. This is the first iTunes review that we've ever had for this podcast.
Yes. And it's good at that.
Yes. Surprisingly. But yeah, it was very, very cool of that person to leave the feedback there. I guess we're just going to get right into the Sandler Spotlight. I guess I'll go ahead and say that episodes 61 through 66 were originally going to be the Superman Spotlight, with episode 66 was going to be Superman Returns, because that movie is the devil, I think. To quote Mama from Waterboy.
It's a devil, Mama.
But unfortunately, much like the Superman franchise being cursed, our spotlight on Superman is also cursed, and we've had to push it back. So, we are putting, over the next 6 episodes we're going to do, we originally had, I think, what was it, like 10 of Adam Sandler's films, or 12? I don't know, there's like 10 or 12 of his films that we had listed on the schedule as one giant spotlight. So I didn't have to move around the other stuff that we were going to do at certain episode points. I went ahead and split up the Sandler Spotlight, and we are going to start with Billy Madison, which is a 1995 comedy film starring Adam Sandler in the title role about a slacker who must go back to school in order to take over his father's company. The comedy also features Bradley Whitford, Josh Mostel, Bridget Wilson, Chris Farley, Norm Macdonald, Steve Buscemi, and Darren McGavin. It was written by Sandler and Tim I don't know how to... Yeah, there you go. And it was directed by Tamara Davis and produced by Universal Studios. It made over $25.5 million worldwide. When did you first see Billy Madison, sir?
I believe I first saw it on cable probably 15 years ago. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I mean, it may have been a little bit later than that, but uh, this has always been one of those funny films that I can pretty much go back and watch quite often and not get bored with.
Oh, yeah.
Just because of the humor that's involved with this and who's in it.
Yeah.
And I have to say this starting off that they had Adam Sandler, they had Chris Farley, Norm Macdonald. All three were on Saturday Night Live at the same time.
Right.
Tim Herlihy was a writer on Saturday Night Live and often did skits with Sandler and Farley.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd have like little, Herlihy things drop throughout it, whenever those two were involved. So it's kind of funny that he wrote their, the movie with Adam Sandler.
Hey, whatever the Saturday Night Live has been a stepping stone to greatness for a lot of people. Just look at Sandler, look at Chevy Chase, look at Dan Aykroyd, look at any of those guys from any of the Saturday Night Live has been going on since the 1970s. You look from then till now, you can throw a stone and hit like 10 super celebrities that started on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's just so many to name, and obviously we're not going to do all that, but yeah, this was, I believe this was Sandler's first, big hit film, and I believe that, this is what started his, this and Happy Gilmore is where he got his start with, Happy Madison Productions, his production company.
Yeah, the first three movies he was in Going Overboard. I'm sure he had other smaller movie roles like that. He wasn't the lead role, and I don't really count those as his films. Because there was Mixed Nuts with Steve Martin, and he played some goofy kid or something in it. But
yeah,
he was the lead role in Going Overboard, which is an awful movie. This, I would have to say, is his first hit movie, and then, yes, like you said, between this one and Happy Gilmore, neither of which he directed, did launch his Happy Madison Productions.
Yep.
Which, it's a mix of his two best films, so I mean, it's kind of hilarious there. But yeah, pretty much everything he's touched, and in recent years, give or take a few, I mean, which I'm sure I'll get into this later in the spotlight, it's been hit or miss on whether they're good. But his early films are good.
Yeah, I think that when we get to that, it'll probably be part 2 of the spotlight, which is further on down the schedule. I think part 1 pretty much encompasses the best films that he's done.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does too. I'd have to actually look at the schedule, but I do know that this is one of my favorite films, and funny enough, my wife and her family love all the Adam Sandler films, so I've become quite fluent in them over the last 7 years. So I can pretty much quote parts of this movie. I like some of the funny jokes that they have running throughout the entire film, such as his penguin, which, yes, we'll get into that later. But yeah, this is one of my favorite Sandler films, where he's getting to play that goofy role that you wish you could have done back in the day.
Oh yeah, very, very much so. So I guess really quick, getting into the plot here, a 27-year-old Billy Madison, played by Adam Sandler, has spent his entire life reaping the benefits of his father's hotel chain, and he spends his days drinking with friends Jack, played by Mark Beltzman, and Frank, played by Norm Macdonald, and creating disturbances across his father's estate. One day, Billy ruins a dinner meeting between his father, Brian, played by Darren McGavin, and his associates by acting obnoxiously. This prompts Brian to lose any remaining faith in Billy, and he chooses the conniving Eric Gordon, played by Bradley Whitford, to become the next chief of the hotel. When Billy protests that he can be responsible, Brian reveals that he secretly bribed all of Billy's school teachers in order for him to pass. Billy, who despises Eric, begs his father to reconsider his decision. The two finally come to a compromise. Billy must pass elementary, junior high, and high school on his own within the course of 24 weeks, 2 weeks per grade, in order to prove his competence. Shortly after enrolling in school, Billy becomes attracted to a third-grade teacher named Veronica Vaughn, played by Bridget Wilson, who initially is disgusted with Billy and finds his enrollment to be a distraction for the other students. He eventually finds himself as one of Vaughn's students and earns her respect by defending Ernie and his friend and classmate. Billy becomes popular among the third graders and begins to miss them as he advances through school. So far, I know there's a lot of jokes in between all this, but just the whole opening up to the point until he gets to third grade, what did you think?
I liked that they had Darren McGavin in it. That was kind of a nice touch, because he was playing kind of I don't know. This is the second time I've seen him. I saw him in The Christmas Story first. So every time I see him on screen, I just think Christmas Story. But as for Eric Gordon, Bradley Whitford, I despise the character from the moment he stepped foot on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny to see that, that Billy's dad paid off all his teachers so he could pass, and then Eric was, of course, he's a little slimy snake trying to get in for himself so he can get all the power and whatnot. I can't remember the guy's name in this film, but he's Carl. Yeah, that's right. Carl was always nice to Billy, despite the fact he knew Billy was getting wasted off his ass.
Right.
And, it was like, oh, looks like you got some sun. He says, yeah, I fell asleep by the pool. And then Eric's like, you sure you didn't pass out? And he's like, shut up! Eric's always being a smart ass with him. So, of course, this is why Billy hates him with a passion.
Mm-hmm.
The kindergarten through second grade where the classes were quite retarded. Yet he got away with pretty much anything he wanted, as long as he did the little retarded work that they gave him.
Yep.
Third grade is when he met Veronica Vaughn, Bridget Wilson, and, of course he pissed her off quite a few times, but eventually they took to each other. And funny enough, he pretty much shows his humor to be on par with the third grade class.
Yeah.
Because it's about the only spot he actually fit in.
Right.
So, I mean, it's quite funny that, he gets made fun of, like, when they made him spell the word on the, what was it, risotto? They spell that on the chalkboard in cursive, and he couldn't figure out how to write the Z's, so he just started writing squiggly lines.
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty funny up to that point.
Yeah. Let's see here. Billy's development and progression alarms Eric, leading him to take the offensive. While Billy struggles in high school, he visits Billy's grade school principal, Max Anderson, played by Josh Mostel, and threatens to reveal his past as a professional wrestler, in which he accidentally caused the death of another man while performing a stunt. Coerced, Max publicly states that he took bribes from Billy in return for passing him. The announcement angers Brian, who chooses to give the hotel chain to Eric. Billy becomes distraught and reverts to his original carefree lifestyle. Veronica and the others come to Billy's aid, convincing him to keep fighting Eric. He returns to school and begins to study again. However, Billy realizes that he must reclaim the hotel chain. His grade school friends visit Max at his home and convince him to retract his accusations. With Billy's name cleared, Brian argues to Eric that Billy deserves another chance, but Eric disagrees and threatens to file a lawsuit. Billy challenges Eric to an academic decathlon that will determine his father's successor. Although both men excel in different activities, Billy manages to take a single-point lead before the contest's final event, the Jeopardy-style academic test. Oh man, I love that. Anytime you can incorporate Jeopardy into something, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, always.
The game progresses and Eric is given the chance to answer and potentially win. However, he is asked to answer a question about business ethics, which he has no concept of, and begins to break down. Refusing to admit defeat, he brandishes a gun at Billy. Billy Max, clad in his wrestling outfit, subdues Eric. The attack fails to keep Eric down, and he makes a final attempt to get back at Billy by turning his gun on Veronica. Suddenly, a rifle-wielding madman, Danny McGrath, played by Steve Buscemi, whom Billy apologized to earlier in the film for bullying in school, disables Eric by firing a single shot to his buttocks. Later at Billy's graduation, he announces that he will pass the hotel business on to Carl Alphonse, played by Larry Hankin, his father's loyal and longtime employee, and will attend college with hopes of becoming a teacher. Oh boy. That's scary. And there's a whole subplot that they kind of glossed over. And again, it's wiki people, so we're sorry, but we can bring it up here. Chris Farley and this whole fucking penguin thing.
Well, Chris Farley started out as the hairy Sasquatch of a bus driver that he just, I don't know, he was pissed at everybody just for being there. And they go to the zoo, basically like a, some kind of a little old-style village thing. And they had sacked lunches, and somehow Norm Macdonald got, his character got in there and was eating with the bus driver all the lunches. Mm-hmm. Somehow he just was there. You're not supposed to question it. That's how it was. Despite the fact that they would have never allowed him on the bus.
Right.
So yeah, they ate all the lunches, and then of course you have where Ernie pees himself.
Yeah.
And Billy decides to pour water on his crotch and make it look like he peed himself too, so that he didn't feel as embarrassed.
He was trying to help the kid out.
Yeah, and then every other kid pees their pants, and then to Chris Farley's dismay, as they all walk back on the bus, they all have wet crotches. So he's got a bus full of urine. But the comment was, look, Ernie peed his pants, and then Billy's like, I peed my pants too. It's the coolest. And then the lady's like, if peeing your pants is cool, then consider me Miles Davis and whatever. And they're like, ew.
Oh yeah. This movie was really funny.
There's a lot of funny clips in here.
Yeah.
I mean, between Adam Sandler being in the tub and fighting the shampoo and conditioner together.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Him chasing the penguin throughout the entire film, and then somehow Chris Farley making love to the, penguin at some point. You got the clown from, I think, his third grade party. Falls, gets a hemorrhage in his head, and it's bleeding. And then you see him later in the movie during their little musical stands. And the entire song is supposed to be based around, Billy going back to school and giving it another shot. And it transforms from that to the very end of the song where they're asking if anybody has any more gum.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of strange.
Which is odd in itself. And, among those films, it's quite funny. I think that the Jeopardy scene in the end, I think that was kind of a throw into their Celebrity Jeopardy they were starting on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure they just used the same equipment. But they had all kinds of weird category names at the top, which is what they do in Saturday Night Live's version.
Yeah.
But there's always some, reference to somebody being a whore, and they of course had that in here too. So, this whole film centered around all kinds of random comedy that ended up leading to a actual final point. But it was so well worth it.
Oh, yeah. Because Billy knows. I mean, the whole point of this is Sandler's character's development throughout the entire film. I mean, he goes from a lazy slacker to a guy who realizes that, school is cool and he needs to graduate and get a, real job, even though he doesn't want to go into the hotel business like his dad, take over that. But, he finally gets it that you have to make something of yourself. And by the end, he looks up and sees like the 4 other wacky categories, and then he sees the business ethics one. He's like, ooh, this is the way I can beat his ass.
Because he knows that...
Yeah, Eric has no ethics whatsoever. Yeah.
He just wants to run the business. He doesn't necessarily know how to run the business.
Yep.
Billy may be a moron in most areas, but he still knows a thing or two about, ethics and...
Oh, yeah.
The Steve Buscemi part, where he was in the film as, Danny McGrath, which was quite strange.
Well, a lot of Steve's roles,
a lot of his roles are just freaking random, and...
Well, it's not even the fact that they're random, and it's not even the fact of his roles in Sandler movies. A lot of his roles in general, when he's playing a character like that, are extremely random and extremely off-the-wall wacky.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, hell, look at... Well, once we get to episode 98 of MWIRE, just look at Rockhound. I mean, from Armageddon. But yeah, overall, this is a really great movie. Anybody should have this in their collection.
And this film actually... And from this point on, after Adam Sandler's worked with certain actors and actresses throughout these films that he's doing, I think The Wedding Singer was another one he didn't have under his production. But after he starts working with people from this film on, you will see certain people resurface in most of his films. Like, if he can fit them in there, even for a bit part, they're in there.
Yep.
Such as, Steve Buscemi, who appears, like, even in the latest one, the Grown Ups.
Yeah.
He was in that film. I mean, that's the latest Adam Sandler film. I mean, he's appeared in a lot of them, just like the guy that plays the limo driver in The Wedding Singer appears in pretty much 98% of every Adam Sandler film from then on.
Yeah. Well, I think I don't know if I saw an interview or heard an interview with him somewhere. It might have been on like some TV special or something, or it might have been one of those like HBO First Look things or whatever. And on one of the films, he had said that no, actually, it was the 51st Dates special features. He said that I like working with people that I've worked with before, and any time that I will get a chance to bring them back, I will do so.
Which I think is a cool thing.
Yep.
I like that he keeps bringing back people into the mix that just kind of meshed really well with his films.
Yep. And he won, Adam himself won Best Comedic Performance for an MTV Movie. Well, no, he was nominated for Best Comedic Performance for an MTV Movie Award, so that was kind of cool. The reception, the film earned poor reviews when first being released. Peter Rayner of the Los Angeles Times commented, Sandler has a bad habit of thinking he is funnier than we do. In At the Movies, Siskel and Ebert gave the film a very bad review, said of Sandler, not an attractive screen presence. He might have had a career as a villain or a fall guy, or the butt of a joke, but as a protagonist, his problem is he creates the fingernails on the blackboard. Oh boy.
Can Ebert go jump off a bridge already?
I know.
I mean, seriously, this is getting to be crap with Ebert. He's always slamming every film that he reviews, or he gives good ratings to ones that genuinely suck.
Yeah.
And there's very few times that we actually agree.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This
pompous bastard.
Yes. And I can't fathom how. I could see for at the time maybe it may have been too goofy, but at the time we had Billy Madison, we had Ace Ventura, we had The Mask, Dumb and Dumber, we had all kinds of crap like that coming out. So I mean, it was the dumb comedy era.
Yeah.
So
and then
Ebert, I know that he's this well-renowned movie critic, but seriously, he needs to just retire because he inserts foot in mouth quite often now.
Yes, he does. At the time of this, Siskel was still alive, so rest in peace, Mr. Siskel. But he had added, you don't have a good motivation for the character's behavior. Rotten Tomatoes reports that based on 34 reviews counted, 41% of critics gave the film a positive review. Despite being panned by critics, it has sold well on VHS and DVD. If you're an Adam Sandler fan, you need to have this.
Yes, this is one of the few that you absolutely must have that he's in.
Yep.
And funny enough, the O'Doyles, as annoying as they are in this film, he brings them back in a later film.
Which one?
Click.
Oh, that's right.
He makes a reference to, because he's a grown-up now, but he does some of the same antics that he does in here, not quite to the same degree. He's, obviously a grown-up and a professional, but he goes after, the O'Doyles, and they happen to be his neighbors, and he says, I have a feeling I'm taking you and your whole family down. He says that in, Billy Madison. Well, he says it again in, Click. And I thought that was a nice touch to reference a previous film, and throughout his films, he does quite often reference, like, little elements of older films. But they went as far as the snotty redhead kid, the whole look of the O'Doyles.
Yeah.
And he, being an adult in this film, is able to set up the O'Doyle kid a lot easier for the fall, for being a little shit in Click. But, it's still funny how he gets him in this, and I don't know. It's just funny the dynamics that he throws into these films after the fact.
Oh, yeah, very much so. Very, very much so. So I think we're going to take you to some Billy Madison clips, and then we will be back with the outro.
Shampoo is better. I go on first and clean the hair. Conditioner is better. I leave the hair silky and smooth. Oh, really, fool? Really? Stop looking at me, Swan. Oh, my dear Lord!
You never leave me open, son, because I'm going to hit it every time.
You want some more of that? I didn't think so!
Écoute mon vieux, tu n'apprendras jamais à parler le français, tu n'as pas ce qu'il faut, tu es un imbécile, ça ne vaut pas la peine de continuer cette conversation.
Slow down.
Écoute mon vieux, tu n'apprendras jamais à parler le français, tu n'as pas ce qu'il faut, tu es un imbécile, ça ne vaut pas la peine de continuer cette conversation.
Oh, great, I like the porn.
Holy jeez. Look at what we got here. That silly penguin is back again.
The no penguin.
Oh. It's too damn hot for a penguin to be just walking around here.
Hey, Carl, what's up?
Nothing much, Billy. I see you got a little sun today.
Oh, yeah, you think so? I fell asleep by the pool for a few hours.
Did you fall asleep or did you pass out?
Shut up! I am the smartest man alive!
Constable Sloppy Joes. I made them extra sloppy for you. I know how you kids like them sloppy.
Lady, you're scaring us.
You ain't cool unless you pee your pants.
If peeing your pants is cool, consider me Miles Davis.
Spanish Armada. 1588.
That is correct.
Who would steal 30 bag lunches?
I'll tell you who took those luncheons. That damn Sasquatch.
Geez, what's up her butt?
What was that, Billy?
I said reading is good. Can we start the story now?
Man, why did I have so many drinks I can't remember? What's today? October?
Hey!
Who rules?
Ogoya rules! Ogoya rules! Ogoya rules! Ogoya rules!
Yes, I will go back to school and achieve victory. No man will take what my father has built unless that man is me.
My Billy, sweet Billy boy, I knew you would go back. No one can stop you if you try. Don't I have a nice rack?
Veronica, I thank you for beating the shit out of me. I see things so clearly now. I choose my destiny.
Oh, Billy, I knew you had it in ya.
We're here to help you, Billy. Get back in school to stay. You gotta work real hard and stick it out till graduation day.
Hey, kids, it's me. I bet you thought that I was dead. But when I fell over, I just broke my leg and got a hemorrhage in my head.
There are obstacles in the way, but together we shall overcome. Cause you can't break a spirit and you can't kill a dream. Do you have any more gum, more gum, more gum, more gum?
Do you have any more gum?
We are back, and I'd like to thank Atomic Dog for leaving us that iTunes review. Very cool of him to do so. I believe it's a him. I hope. Yeah, I would assume so. So thank you for joining us here on MWIRE Movie Week in Review. There are several ways to get in contact with us, or leave feedback for the show. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com. Join the forums, PredicationEmpire.com/Nexus. Leave the show's feedback on iTunes, please do this, and thank you. Follow us on Twitter. The show name there is GCRN MWIRE. It's all one word. Mine is TFG1 Mike. What is your Twitter?
SCP-21.
Become a fan on Facebook. Search Geekcast Radio Network. The voicemail line will be changing. That number is going to be expiring here soon. So, if you guys want to send us voicemails or MP3s, you're going to have to do it in MP3 form.
Just send them to Steve at geekcastradio.com and I'll get them thrown in.
Yeah. actually, really quick before I announce the next film that we're going to be talking about, we're probably going to be taking a couple weeks break here on MWIRE because I have a couple of Adam Sandler's films. I don't have a lot of them, so, like, unfortunately, and I know, go ahead and revoke my geek license now. I don't have a copy of Happy Gilmore at the time, so, at this present time, so yeah. We're probably going to take a couple of weeks hiatus so I can grab some of these DVDs off of Amazon and have them here to watch and all that stuff. So we hope you enjoyed this episode of MY and wish you'll join us next time when we'll be continuing the Sandler Spotlight Volume 1 with Happy Gilmore. For now, I am TFG1 Mike with
Steve Megatron Phillips.
Thank you for listening. Until next time.
In a world, there, I said it, happy